Hey everybody, welcome to This Week in Pro Wrestling. We got a lot to talk about. I'm Mike Sandoval. This is Jeffrey Harris. We're going to dive into it right now. Jeffrey, what are we talking about today?
Once again, it is me, the J to the E to the double F-ree. Mike, the pleasure and honor is all yours, I am sure. Thank you once again for having me on. It has been quite a week in wrestling. WrestleMania season is in full swing. We are just over a week away from WrestleMania 37. Next week, it's going to be a jam-packed week. You don't just have WrestleMania. You have NXT Stand and Deliver. You have NXT UK Prelude. So it's going to be jam-packed. Plus, we've had tons of news, a very jam-packed news week. Between what happened. Andrade got released, but then there's all the aftermath with that. There's been some big news happening with Charlotte Flair because she was sort of MIA, and then we found out what happened with Charlotte. And then there's some big scheduling news as well that we will get into. So here we go. Here's the first bit of news. So on March 30th, they made it official with NXT. NXT is officially moving to Tuesday nights. The official date is Tuesday, April 13th. So that's the Tuesday after WrestleMania 37. So it will be WrestleMania 37 night 2, then Monday Night Raw the next night, and then the night after that will be the debut of NXT on Tuesday nights. But here's the other thing. Besides NXT moving to Tuesday nights, they have a multi-year extension with the USA Network. So NXT will remain on the USA Network for the foreseeable future. So it'll stay live. It'll stay 2 hours on USA Network on Tuesday nights. So there's not going to be any more. The Wednesday Night Wars are over. The Wednesday Night Wars are over. So
does it shock you that they stay on USA?
It does not. It does not. Because they have a strong promotional partner. Because USA is part of NBC Universal, and they have a strong partnership with NBC Universal. So that doesn't surprise me.
I can hardly wait because I think it's a good day. I think starting at after WrestleMania, when you hit the reset button for the year, perfect timing to do any changes.
Okay, so they're moving to Tuesday nights. They're moving off of Wednesday. I think this is good for everyone because the few times NXT is aired on Tuesday night by itself, not running against AEW Dynamite, they've done very well. I think they had to do that last year during hockey season. And I think it's been bad for the product that they had to go up against AEW. And I think it'll just be better for everyone. But here's my question. Do you consider the Wednesday Night Wars an actual wrestling war? And did AEW win the war?
I don't think of it as a war.
Okay.
I think there are two different types of products, but there are people who reminisce it and make it think like if it's a war.
Okay.
If it was a war to some people, I think AEW won.
Okay, so whatever you think AEW won this battle, so to speak.
Yeah.
Now, I think here's my I guess theory. I'm curious to see if this actually does improve the state of viewership and ratings for AEW, or if it doesn't really even make a difference at all. A part of me wonders, did having NXT against Dynamite on Wednesday nights, having them head-to-head, did it help drive more viewership to Dynamite, or am I totally off the wall there?
It could have. It could have really helped them because the matches they've been having, especially this year so far, have been amazing and they've been top notch. So,
but do you think? Okay, but here's my thing. Like, do you think more people are watching Dynamite because, like, okay, NXT's on here and I'm watching NXT, and now I'm going to switch to Dynamite to see what's going on there. Do you think that helps?
Yeah, it does help.
Okay.
Because, like, if you're in the West Coast and you have that opportunity, because some people could get the East Coast feed on NXT, so you're getting seen at 5 o'clock. It's a good entry point to get into the 8 o'clock show.
Will Will AEW Dynamite running unopposed on Wednesday nights now, will that help their product, do you think, or do you think it will make them complacent, or do you think it will like take the training wheels off,
I
so to
think it's
speak
going to help
now?
the product though, because Impact is moving to Thursdays too.
Right. Impact is that was the news last week was
Right.
Impact had to move off of Tuesdays because NXT was going to move to Tuesday, and now Impact is on Thursdays. So here's what we have now. We have 2 hours of Raw on Monday, 2 hours of NXT on Tuesday, 2 hours of AEW Dynamite on Wednesday night, and then on Thursday we have 2 hours of Impact on Axis and Twitch. And then we have, AEW Dark Elevation, AEW Dark on YouTube, and before the
Yeah.
we have all these other kind of like satellite shows, WWE Main Event. I think isn't Main Event on Hulu? I forget.
I thought it was on the WWE network, but now I think it's probably on Hulu. I
But
wouldn't be surprised.
Eric Bischoff said that it wasn't a Wednesday night war. He called it a skirmish. What do you think?
That could be right though, because Bischoff has been playing double duty on all that.
Okay.
He's getting that Hall of Fame recognition from WWE, but he's been on the show recently on AEW. So
Okay, so last week we had the confirmation that Andrade, El Idolo, La Sombra, got released from WWE, and then he did an interview, like a tell-all interview with Lucha Libre Online and Hugo Savinovich. Now, just so everyone knows, this guy Hugo Savinovich, this guy is not a nobody in the industry. He was WWE's Spanish commentator, Spanish broadcaster. There's like their Spanish, basically their Spanish Jim Ross for years and years, right?
yeah.
And so he did a tell-all interview with Andrade and talked a lot about what was going on with him in WWE. Now, so he talked.
And before you move forward with Hugo's a very strong proponent for a lot of the Latino wrestlers who come up to the United States. That's one thing that he definitely is, and he has that persona with a lot of them. So
and he's not a WWE shill by any means.
Not at all.
So he had this tell-all interview. Now there was this thing going on last month where Charlotte Flair kind of disappeared from TV, and we wondered what was going on. And then we found out she tested positive for COVID. But that was not even the least of it. Andrade revealed in this interview that a WWE doctor called him and Charlotte and said Charlotte Flair was medically suspended due to pregnancy because her HCG levels were high. So Andrade and Charlotte, they went out, they got more pregnancy tests done, they got blood work done and an ultrasound done, and those were negative. So apparently this was a false pregnancy test, a false positive, as it were. So a WWE doctor told Charlotte Flair she was pregnant, and that was another reason she was taken off TV. She's since been cleared from COVID, and she was apparently backstage at Raw this week. So she's cleared to wrestle, but she's not back on TV, and it looks like she's now going to miss WrestleMania. So what do you make of this situation with the false pregnancy from the WWE doctor? And Andrade said this was the same doctor who told him he failed a drug test early last year, and that was when he was briefly suspended due to a wellness policy violation. So Andrade is now throwing this doctor under the bus, saying, hey, if he got Charlotte's pregnancy test wrong, maybe he got my wellness violation wrong. So look, I don't know what Andrade's violation was about, what that was about. So that could just be trying to make himself look better. I don't know. But what do you make of this whole pregnancy fiasco?
To me, it seems fishy. It seems really fishy, especially if you heard the whole interview and you talk about what's going on in WWE right now. To me, it just seems kind of strange. Like, And I mean, Andrade has to be careful on what he says. He's been very, very open. I mean, he
I
wasn't
think he
holding
was a little too open in this interview.
Yes, exactly.
Now, look, we're talking about the Charlotte thing because Andrade, he publicly
Brought
revealed
it
that
up.
information.
Yeah.
Listen, I know they're in a relationship, they're engaged. I don't really think it was his business to reveal that information about Charlotte,
Yeah.
even though we're talking about it, but we're
Mhm.
talking about it because look, it's out there. There's no
Yeah.
closing
Well,
Pandora's
it
box.
would have been different. It would have been different if Charlotte was with him in the interview
Yeah,
for her to say what she needs to say, because she actually had to release a statement
she did
about
release a statement.
yeah,
So
because
I have that statement right here. Here's the statement she revealed. What Manny said about the pregnancy test in today's interview is true, but a significant amount of context is lost in translation, and we'd like to clear that up as best we can. A few weeks ago, Charlotte received a call from WWE Medical telling her that her HCG levels had come back high and she was medically suspended for pregnancy. That day, she took home several tests that all came back negative. A few days later, blood work and ultrasound confirmed there was no pregnancy. Before there was any issues with COVID, she is currently medically clear. This put a lot in context for her, mainly how small a woman's career window is. The men are able to work well into their 50s, while the women are seen as older in their early 30s even. For an athlete in her prime, these years mean everything. Her issue with the process and how the information was relayed as opposed to the information itself. So it doesn't sound like Charlotte was happy with how she was treated by
yeah.
WWE's medical staff,
Mhm.
if I'm just looking at this
Well,
statement. But what do you make of the statement?
the statement seems truthful, and it seems like there's something like I don't think she wants to say it because she's still under contract,
Right.
but it seems kind of fishy, and I think she's even feeling like it's fishy.
Um, I guess I'm just concerned that Andrade might have put Charlotte in an awkward position because
Mhm.
he's not in WWE anymore.
Mhm.
She still is, and she's one of their
Yeah.
top attractions. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't want any, I don't wish ill on either of them. I hope things work out, but it just seems like it could be an awkward situation now.
Yeah, and I agree because like I've met Charlotte Flair at a TCA back when SmackDown was announced that they were going to
Hmm.
Fox, and Shut's a really nice person, straight up, like treats you like you're just like she's just like everybody else, which she is. But when you meet people like that, you always think put them higher. You think of them as a certain status, and she is one of the nicest persons that I've met in this business. So I mean, I feel bad for her because she has to be not only is she focused on what's going on in her outside in her personal life,
Hmm.
because usually you don't cross those paths within personal and work during this business, but in this time it really is. And I feel a little, I can understand it's probably a lot of stressfulness right now and what's going on because there's a lot more to this.
Okay, so
It's gonna continue on.
here's some more interesting things that came out of the Lucha Libre Online with Hugo. These translation came from Fightful, Carlos Toro, and Luis Polito. Andrade said, I've been with WWE. I had a great contract with WWE. He says 3 million per year, several $1,000,000 per year, a lot more than plenty of guys coming up from NXT. I heard about some of those contracts. I made a lot more than those guys. Do you think that's true? 3 million a year?
It sounds about right, but it still sounds a little high. I was thinking like a million,
Okay.
100,000 to a million, but 3 million a year. And and the way they used him, it doesn't seem like it warranted 3 million.
Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer says the guys that make a million a year are like guys getting pushed on TV. And he says, Andrade, so do you think maybe Andrade was throwing a number out there to make him, to, improve himself in the negotiations process? Because he did say in another interview that he's in talks with several organizations.
It probably did. I mean, I would do the same thing. If I'm going to be negotiating a contract, you're going to make it. You're going to inflate that the old contract to make you worth more.
Okay. He also talked about working with Drew McIntyre.
Mhm.
He said, we had the matches, and a producer came to me and said, make sure Drew looks like a monster because he's the champ. Drew came to me and told me how to wrestle, how I know how to wrestle, saying he
Mhm.
doesn't need me to make him look good, but to wrestle how I wrestle best. A lot of people treated me well, Drew too, and Randy Orton. Randy would ask me, why aren't they using you? I didn't know what to say, and I didn't know what was going on. After that, I made the decision to leave. So he's kind of just talking about, they weren't using him. They were trying to tell him how to wrestle against guys like Drew McIntyre. Guys like Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton have a lot of respect for what Andrade does in the ring. If you remember, Andrade beat Drew McIntyre back in NXT to win the NXT title. And that was like a big upset, and people were really surprised about that.
Yeah.
So there was that. To
me, it makes it like with Andrade and with the statements that he makes. I'm starting to really see now how this whole WWE system is starting to work, because it seems like NXT under Triple H and Shawn Michaels runs one way, and then the main roster is another.
Okay. Here's another note I got from the interview from Reddit. This is from user Strike Gently. Now, again, the whole interview was in Spanish, and these were translated from Spanish to English. He says when he returned in February, he met with Epico, told him he was on the bench, and Epico joked, "You're like the clones, always hurt." Then he followed up with, "At least you're getting paid." And Andrade said, "Yeah, he was just in catering." And then he said the locker room always says just eating catering when someone asks them, "What did you do today?" Says he wasn't desperate when he came back in February. So we have the whole stuck in catering mentality that a lot of guys are dealing with right now. Yeah. So what do you think of the whole stuck in catering thing?
That's the thing. Like I've heard already some things of that actually happening. I've heard things like that. But I'm just kind of like, I wonder why they're not. I wonder how they're scheduling and how they're using their talent. Because to me, it seems like a waste of talent if you're just having them sit around and then you're paying them. That's just me. I don't get why they're just having them in catering and then telling them, "Oh, just go home. We're not using you today." It's like you would think the scripts are written, or the storylines are going to be written ahead of time, so that you know what you're doing each week. But it doesn't seem. It seems like I'm starting to think a lot of the things that I've heard about Vince McMahon going in, changing storylines, changing the way the show's going to run at the last minute are true.
He also talked about his limited use of English, since English is his second language. He pointed out that Brock and Asuka, like Brock knows perfect English, but he doesn't speak a lot. Asuka, also uses English as a second language, but her character and her charisma come across, despite the language barrier. He corrected another website story saying that I did not say that I master the language better than Brock. I said that Brock speaks it perfect, but he has no need to do so, and that Asuka is a great champion and a great fighter and does not need to speak. So the rumor is that Vince's whole problem with Andrade was that he didn't speak English great, and that's a problem. Like, what? Like, that's why you give him Zelina Vega, though, who can be his mouthpiece. Like, what is it? What is it with Vince's obsession with promos and that kind of thing when they have a big Latin audience and a whole audience and whole demographic where that doesn't even matter,
Well, and see, here's the thing. WWE doesn't, I don't think they know how to attract, like the Latin audience are attracted because that's in our blood. That's who we watch wrestling. Those are our superheroes.
Right.
But I don't think WWE knows how to attract them or how to really keep them involved. Because it just, and this didn't help them. This whole situation did not help them at all.
And Humberto Carrillo and Garza, they speak very good English, and they're not getting used on TV very much either. And they're both great workers. They're both great talkers, charismatic. So that's just another example.
Exactly, and we haven't seen Kalisto in a long time. We haven't seen even the other guys from Lucha House Party. You see them around, but what do they delegate them to? The 24/7 championship
or main event.
Yeah,
the B shows basically.
The B shows. And it's like there's guys out there in that locker room other than Rey Mysterio, because Rey Mysterio can carry the Latino flag forever. He's already getting older. He's had a lot of injuries.
Mhm.
You gotta get these newer, younger talent up. And I don't think I mean, I hate to put it this way because over what we've seen over the last 4 years,
Mhm.
and the hate and a lot of the hatred towards Latinos in this country because of issues that occur, which is a different show on some other different channel.
Mhm.
Because I don't like we don't go into the politics or
Right,
news,
right, right, right.
but sometimes it makes you wonder because Vince McMahon was a supporter of Trump. I mean, but here's the thing: he's been doing this for years.
Right.
So it's hard to say where and when and
I
how this
just think
started.
I I I think it's just that Vince is very stuck in his ways, and it's hard to get his attention focused on a good talent and make him understand that a talent is not Rey Mysterio, but that's okay, or a talent is not Eddie Guerrero, or someone can still not be a Rey Mysterio or Eddie Guerrero and can still be good.
Yeah.
I mean, they did have Tito Santana back in the day, even though Tito never became a main. And what about Pedro Morales?
Yeah.
He was a big star.
He was a big star.
Okay.
But then too, it was a different time period too, when
Every
he was younger.
I just think Vince is just very stuck in his ways, and it's hard to get him to understand and realize, other people's greatness or talent. Look at, I mean, not Hispanic, but look at Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Quick
So
question though, before we leave this topic.
okay. Yes.
If the Lucha Brothers were in WWE, do you
Okay.
think they would be at that level that they are in AEW on
I think
WWE?
I think they'd be on 205 Live at best,
Yeah.
is where I think they'd be.
Mhm.
Or they'd be in a similar they would maybe get they would maybe get a couple decent storylines, and they'd be where Lucha House Party is now,
Yeah,
basically. Or
that's
they'd
why
be
I say I think I'm glad the Lucha Brothers are on AEW because
Mhm.
and we'll get into it later in the show, but I think that's why I think WWE has an issue with some.
Because Kalisto was getting a bit of a singles run at first, but then
He was.
they kind of just petered out, and they lost interest in him.
Yeah, and the guy looks better than he's ever
He
had.
looks like
Since
he looks like he's kept in
Yeah,
shape, and he looks like
yeah,
he's raring to go, but they don't. He's putting those promos on his Twitter, but they don't
yeah.
want to pull the
And they're
trigger
good,
on him.
and they're good promos.
Yeah,
They're
because
really
he's
good promos.
he's trying to play a heel. He's trying to play a heel character, but they won't put it on. Like they won't put it
Yeah.
on TV.
And he's even talked about Rey Mysterio, which I would like to see that match. I really would like to see that
I
match.
would just have him like go on SmackDown and just like assault Dominic,
Hmm.
and then just go from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so here's our WrestleMania 37 card. So that's Saturday, April 10th, and Sunday, April 11th. It will be streaming on Peacock. That's Peacock now because WWE Network is officially going away in the US on April 4th. It will remain going overseas, but it will be on Peacock in the US. So here's what we have. Night one, we have Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre for the world title. Who's your prediction there?
Bobby Lashley.
Okay, I'm also picking Bobby Lashley.
Mhm.
SmackDown Women's title, Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. I picked Bianca Belair. Who do you have?
I would have to pick Sasha Banks for personal reasons, but we'll just keep it like that.
Okay.
So,
Nothing wrong with that.
uh-huh.
Raw for the Raw tag team titles, it'll be the New Day defending against AJ Styles and Omos.
See, that has to be the New Day. I think that if AJ Styles and almost get it, it's just going to be a joke.
I
And
think they're gonna win just to give it, because I think if AJ wins, he'll be a Grand Slam champion, won't he?
yeah, he would be.
Okay, steel cage match. Uh, now it is a steel cage match. Shane McMahon versus Choo Choo Train Braun Strowman. Are they gonna do the train sound effect at some point?
I
They're
don't
doing that now
know.
on TV.
I don't know, but the way things are going, something tells me Shane McMahon is going to win the match.
I gotta pick Braun for this one. Okay. Here we go. The Miz versus Bad Bunny, 1-on-1. The Bad Bunny will make his in-ring debut in a singles match against the double Grand Slam champion, The Miz. What do you think of Bad Bunny, by the way, in this whole Bad Bunny thing?
I like the way they're using him. I think it's good. I mean, I like his music and I like what they're doing. It's probably one of the best entertainers in wrestling for WrestleMania. I think it's been better. But the one thing I hate Miz and Morrison's videos. I hate the shenanigans. It's getting a little old. It's about 10 to 15 years a little too old.
It's a little juvenile.
I'm going Bad Bunny, but I like to see Morrison freaking go on his own, turn his back on the Miz, and be the person that he was in every other wrestling organization that he was at, except for WWE.
I think Bad Bunny is going to win because I could be wrong, but in most instances where they have this celebrity match at WrestleMania, the celebrity usually wins, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking Floyd Mayweather versus Big Show in 2008, right? Floyd Mayweather won. Akabona versus Big Show in 2005. Remember the sumo match at WrestleMania 21? Akabona won that. LT versus Bam Bam Bigelow, WrestleMania 11. I think did LT win that match?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
That was the main event. That was the main event at WrestleMania. That was not. Yeah, that one was almost 26 years ago. So let's see.
Exactly.
LT Lawrence Taylor, LT beat Bam Bam Bigelow in the main event at WrestleMania 11. So, and then of course I think WrestleMania 1 was Mr. T and Hulk Hogan versus Piper and Paul Orndorff. And Mr. T and Hulk, I mean, it was Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, but Mr. T won that match as well. Yeah. But then when did they do Mr. T versus Roddy Piper? That was at WrestleMania 2?
I don't remember.
Okay, so let's look at WrestleMania
2, but
WrestleMania 2. So then you had the boxing match between Mr. T and Roddy Piper. That's what I'm trying to look up right now.
Sure, I can't remember.
Mr. T won by disqualification. So more often than not, when you do the celebrity match, the celebrity wins against the veteran superstar. So by that logic, I'm picking Bad Bunny. Cesaro, all right. Cesaro finally has a WrestleMania match against the Monday Night Messiah. I guess the Messiah.
Friday Night Messiah.
Seth Rollins. Cesaro versus Seth Rollins.
So I'm going with Cesaro. It seems like it's playing that way. You?
I'm picking Cesaro just because I feel like he's overdue for kind of a WrestleMania moment. It's been 7 years since WrestleMania 30, and he won the first Andre Battle Royal against Big Show. So yeah, I think I feel pretty safe picking Cesaro. So that's night 1. And then Sunday night 2, it'll be Roman Reigns versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal title. They've added, so Daniel Bryan's in as a triple threat match. I'm picking Roman Reigns, but who do you have?
I got Edge. I think they're going to give it to Edge. And this is going to be his swan. Whatever. As long as he has the title, that's going to be the beginning of his time to retire.
Do you think Edge is going to stay around longer after that?
Yeah, he'll be around. I think because they have him for, was it a 3-year contract? I believe it was that they had said.
Could be.
So it's gonna be a year of wrestling, and then he'll be around to do other things. But.
Okay, so over on the Raw Women's side, for the Raw Women's title, it'll be Asuka versus Rhea Ripley.
Well, you know where I'm going with that one.
Asuka.
No.
Oh.
I'm going Rhea Ripley.
You are a big Rhea Ripley fan, so
yeah,
I'm going with Asuka. I just, but it's a tough call.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Rhea Ripley. I like her. I like the whole thing of who she is. It's a good sell for me.
Rhea Ripley was even sitting in catering. She told the New York Post she was sitting in catering basically after the Royal Rumble, because after the Royal Rumble, it looked like she was moving to the main roster, but they kind of held it off for a while. So again, we had the sitting in catering thing with one of your top women coming in from NXT.
I think you should make it again. They should make it into a gimmick, sitting and wrestling, sitting and catering, and just do something there. Use them.
Do like maybe do a catering show where you do a show with all the guys who are not on TV.
Yeah, and then do a food fight. Didn't they used to do that a lot?
Oh man. Okay, for the Intercontinental title, it'll be Big E versus Apollo Crews. I think Big E will win.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going with Big E. I liked his push that they wrapped with him.
For the U.S. title, Matt Riddle, or I guess Riddle now, is defending against Sheamus. I don't know. I could see Sheamus winning easily. I'm going to pick Sheamus.
Like, I would pick Sheamus because I think Sheamus is a better wrestler, but with the storyline that they had this week, something tells me it's going to be Matt Riddle. I don't know. I gotta wait. We gotta see what happens on Monday, but that's my thoughts right now.
Okay, a match we both know has 5-star match of the year candidate potential written all over it. It is, of course, I'm talking about the one and only, The Fiend versus Randy Orton in what will be an all-time WrestleMania classic. How about that, Mike?
I hope it's the last time we have to see this Fiend Randy Orton match ever again. I am
so
so
you think this is going to be this is match of the weekend for sure, isn't it?
I'll be doing something else during that match because I'm just not interested at all. It's killed it for me.
All right, I think The Fiend has to pick up the win here, but do you even care?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
It doesn't do anything for me.
And Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn on night 2 as well.
Yeah, I'm going Kevin Owens.
Okay. What is between these two shows? What is the one match you're looking forward to the most?
The Lashley McIntyre match is intriguing. I like to see both of them go at it. But I think that Rhea Ripley Asuka match is going to be something worth watching.
I'm picking. I think both the women's matches look good, but Lashley versus McIntyre, at least it's a fresh matchup. At least it's like it's not a matchup they've overdone to death. It's like it's something newer. So that's the one I think I want to see Lashley come out of it with a win. So that's what I want to see there.
Worst match of WrestleMania.
What was that?
Worst match of WrestleMania.
Oh,
Fiend versus Randy Orton or Bad Bunny versus The Miz?
I feel like The Miz versus Bad Bunny is going to surprise us because my understanding is Bad Bunny is a fan and he's been training. He's been putting the training in at the Performance Center. So I feel like at the very least he will try to put in the effort there. The worst. Oh, here we go. Shane versus Braun. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I'm sure. Look, I mean, Shane should not even be bumping around like a madman because he's in his. Shane is not a young man anymore. You know,
exactly.
Shane was doing those crazy bumps 20 years ago. Now Shane is 51 years old. Should he be like jumping off a cage and doing stuff and doing those Hell in a Cell spots? No, he should not. But
yeah, trust me. Being somebody who played baseball and was an athlete and ran, I'm almost close to 50, and it hurt. Those pains come around every so often. So I can only imagine him having pains from when he jumped off the top of the Hell in a Cell and landed on somebody on the table.
And then and still doing it well into his 40s.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's go on to Raw. So I guess the big development on Raw, it looks like the Hurt Business are breaking up.
Yeah.
What the hell? What do you think of this development?
I was not shocked because he's seen signs of it over the last couple weeks.
Okay.
But the way they did it was kind of like like the I'm better than you type of thing to actually going over to them that I don't really need you. You don't help out. You're just dead weight type of thing. So I was not shocked. I was not shocked. It was a matter of time.
Batista even trashed the breakup of the Hurt Business. I thought it was a good group. I don't get why they Why do you think they broke them up?
I don't know. I thought it was something. I thought it was going to last longer and maybe add another member or two.
Do you
But
think? Do you think they were too worried about Hurt Business and Lashley getting cheers when the fans were coming back for
yeah,
WrestleMania?
yeah, it's possible. It's possible. And I think the story and something tells me that they didn't know how to continue that storyline.
Mm-hmm. But my other problem is what's going to happen to Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin without the Hurt Business. I feel like they're just going to be back to being like
And
enhancement
catering.
talents.
And
They're going
catering.
to be back. They're going to head back to catering now.
Exactly. Nachos and hot dogs in Tampa Bay.
Okay, so Sheamus beat Riddle to kind of set up their U.S. title feud.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like Riddle? Do you like Sheamus? Do you like either of these guys?
Like I like Sheamus. I mean, he's a guy who's what you're gonna get from Sheamus. Riddle. Sometimes I think the act is a little getting old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it worked great at NXT, and I think
it was toned down in NXT. It wasn't this bad.
yeah, it wasn't at this level. And now they're making it seem like the one thing that kills me is the fact that he's a good fighter. He's been in MMA.
Yeah.
It's like, and now you have him riding around on a scooter just acting stupid.
What was up? That scooter thing was weird. I didn't like that.
Yeah, it's a joke. To me, it was too much of a joke. And if I was Riddle, I'll be pissed because it's like
he's a comedy. He's a comedy act now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like I don't know if they're trying to attract the kids, but yet they're still trying to go into that. I think there's an identity crisis sometimes. Like they want to attract the kids, but yet they still want to have that old school type of WWE.
Okay, so Braun Strowman squashed Jackson Riker, and they made his match with Shane a cage match. Now Shane will have nowhere to run. He will have to face Braun. Still caged. Hooray.
Back and forth, doing his little thing the whole time, like if he's friggin' 20. So,
okay, so the Dirt Sheet did the music video, the Hey Hey Hop Hop. Do you like Miz and Morrison doing Hey Hey Hop Hop?
No, I think that was one of the stupidest skits I've seen in some time. You know what it is? It's like I know how Jim, like Morrison, was in other places, and you see the quality of work and quality wrestler he is.
Mm-hmm.
And here, it's just they level him down to a watered down joke.
I mean,
a sideman.
In Impact, he was like a main eventer.
Yeah.
And he gets a bigger audience with WWE, but he's a sideshow attraction.
Yeah, and let's be honest here, Morrison is a better wrestler than Miz.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I respect the Miz a lot because considering where he started, in reality TV, and that he was not that great of a worker, and I think over time, I think he did definitely develop himself in the ring. And yes, I would agree Morrison is better in the ring, but the storylines they put together for them are just not that great.
Yeah. And I was thinking when they had signed Morrison back to WWE and he was coming back.
It was a fresh start for him. It was a clean slate. And
then they just did the same thing over again.
It's then just him and Miz again. It just
So what's gonna happen? And I'm just curious, I'm gonna put it out there since we were talking about the topic right now.
Yeah.
So Taya Valkyrie got signed to WWE.
Right.
I don't know what her name is going to be in WWE, but that's what her name was on Impact. Married to Morrison. Will they bring her up and they'll do something with Morrison or
not? So WWE did announce her coming in. She was announced as Taya Valkyrie, though. I think she's gonna be in NXT first.
Yes.
And I think they're gonna try to rename and repackage her.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I think.
Yeah.
Oh, they advertised her under her real name, Kira Magnum Forster, known to wrestling fans as Taya Valkyrie. So maybe she'll have a new ring name. I think they're going to give her the NXT route before they bring her up.
Oh, definitely.
But
will.
it wouldn't surprise me if she gets paired with Ms. Morrison eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually in WWE they like to have the couples booked on the same shows. That's just generally how they've done it, but we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Couples kind of like, because I mean, look, a lot of people in the business kind of date within the business and they want to be with their spouse most of the time. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so because they're splitting up, Lashley just utterly destroyed Shelton Benjamin, and he's apparently going to face Cedric Alexander next week. So Benjamin just got totally squashed by Bobby Lashley. Now, look, Shelton Benjamin is not a young man anymore, but I think this was a good, this was a good thing to do with him for a while. But I mean, look, I think this is pretty much, I think it's pretty much back to the norm for him, where he's just going to be a job guy going forward.
I'd say back in catering.
Okay. We had AJ Styles with Omos versus Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods won by disqualification. Just kind of run-of-the-mill routine stuff here.
Yeah, like this week's Raw wasn't exactly all that thrilling.
Do you see any money in this guy, Omos? I mean, he's a big dude. He's kind of got that kind of like big guy aura.
Yeah, he's just a sideshow.
He's just what?
He's just a side piece, sideshow.
Well, we'll see.
I don't think he has anything.
I think, isn't this match at WrestleMania going to be his first actual?
That's his first match.
I know he has wrestled in NXT, but I don't think any of those matches were on TV. They were just at house shows.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like. I think this will be like his first actual TV match.
It will, and I think it's his first pay-per-view at the same time. So we'll have to wait and see.
Shayna Baszler wrestled Naomi. Naomi won. Are they doing a match at WrestleMania are they doing a women's tag title match?
I do not know.
I don't think they've announced that yet.
No, I don't think they've. Because they have said that there's been changes to the cards and there's still more to come. I mean, it's kind of last minute to me, but I'm just kind of like trying to figure out if they're actually going to put them in something.
Okay, so there is a rumor that there will be a multiple team match for the women's tag team titles on Saturday. So that's night one to decide the challengers to Jackson Baszler's title on night two. So that's apparently what's going to happen. On night one, will be a four-way. The winners get a shot at the tag titles the next night, basically. So I think, so maybe that's how Naomi and Lana will finally win. Maybe Lana will finally get her title. Ricochet was finally on Raw this week.
It's been some time since he's been on Raw.
Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre, of course. McIntyre picked up the win. Well, it was fleeting, but we got Ricochet back on Raw a little bit. Yeah,
which is sad because I think Ricochet's a huge talent, and they're just not using him the way they should. And I think it's because he's one of the slimmer guys, more athletic, the high flyers, more agile type of guys that they're not really using them.
Okay, so here's why the match happened was basically Lashley said, I'm going to give an opportunity. Anyone who takes Drew McIntyre out before WrestleMania, I'll give you an opportunity at the WWE title. And apparently Ricochet took him up on that opportunity. But it was a short-lived one. So poor Ricochet.
Tell you.
I mean, Ricochet is not the greatest talker either.
No, he's not.
But he's great. He's great in the ring. He's super athletic, and I feel like give him a manager, give him a mouthpiece, a Bobby Heenan, a Jimmy Hart, or whatever, and it doesn't really matter,
Exactly. I think that was the one thing when they went to Fox. That Fox was kind of like, we want to see more of the wrestling and less of the talking. And I feel like it's been on the SmackDown show since it's on Fox that the talking is back to the way it normally is on their shows.
So after the match with Ricochet, we have another poor guy, Mustafa Ali. He tried to take out Drew McIntyre next. Not only did he lose the Retribution, now he got squashed by Drew McIntyre. So, man, just a rough going.
That's why I say, folks, this was not an easy show to watch this Monday on Raw.
So we kind of had a thing with a feud with Lashley and Drew to end Raw this week. I mean, I do like in general the feud and the matchup. I think it's the right matchup to do right now, but you know,
Yeah.
I question breaking up the Hurt Business right now because they were a good stable. All right, so Impact Wrestling. Let's move on to Impact.
Yep.
Any big takeaways though from Raw this week for you?
Nah, nothing. It was just it's just a show to push on to WrestleMania.
Okay, so this week, so the big moment, I guess, to run through for Impact, James Storm versus Eric Young. It is James Storm's 1000th match. Got a little cameo from his old tag team partner, Chris Harris.
Yeah.
Back in the day, in ye old TNA days, it was Chris Harris and James Storm. They were America's Most Wanted, AMW. They were a solid tag team back in the day. So, any big moments for Impact for you this week, though?
Nothing, but I'm getting more excited to see that Kenny Omega Rick Swan match though.
Okay, so that one's is that
that's part of the pay-per-view.
That'll be this month.
Yeah, that's coming down.
Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna see what card that is. That's the next Impact pay-per-view event, I believe. Right. So that'll be Sacrifice. On April 24th, it'll be Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann. Winner takes all. Impact versus the AEW World Title. So that'll be a good match, good show.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting to see, especially since they're going to be on that Thursday night and how they play it off.
Oh, here's the other thing. They're doing on Saturday night, Impact's running their Impact Plus show, Hardcore Justice. And it'll be starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it will not start at the same time as WrestleMania. Okay, so here's what we have for Rebellion so far. Here's the other good match at Rebellion. We have an interpromotional match. New Japan's Juice Robinson and David Finlay will defend the Impact Tag titles against the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. Of course, you know, Finn Juice is from New Japan. They're facing Impact's Good Brothers. That'll be a good match.
Yeah, that's going to definitely be a good match because I'm a big Juice Robinson fan. I think he's definitely going to be like if he wrestled like at AEW, even in Impact full time, he would be a big hit. I think he'd be big.
Okay.
And also, he was one of those guys. Another guy WWE had let go.
Yeah, because he was what was his?
I forgot who was
CJ Parker or in NXT. Yeah, it was CJ Parker.
CJ Parker.
That was but yeah, he's gotten consistently better since he left NXT.
Yeah.
And he cuts. I think he cuts one of the best promos in the business. Okay, so let's go to AEW Dynamite on Wednesday night. So we had Christian Cage in his first singles match in like 7 years beat Frankie Kazarian, his old TNA rival. Christian Cage pick up it was a good match.
It was a good match. I was surprised. I thought there was going to be some rust on Christian Cage, but because he did do Royal Rumble, but that wasn't that to me. That doesn't count. He was really impressive in that match against Kazarian.
Frankie did good too. I mean, Frankie's not a young man either. He's been around the block a bit of a while, and he looked good in there too.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so Christian Cage picked up the win. Next up, we had Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall. I guess they fully completed the QT Marshall heel turn.
Yeah.
Ended in a no contest, and now let's see. Now QT has his own heel stable now. What do you make of this?
One, I thought the whole match it wasn't a good match for one thing. Two, I think they have a little too many factions. It feels like that there's too many factions coming up in AEW, which I'm kind of a
Their
little worried
roster,
about.
not only too many factions, too many wrestlers.
Yeah.
Their roster is bloated right now.
Mhm. I agree.
Okay, so here's the new QT Marshall stable. It's the Nightmare Family students, Aaron Solo, Anthony Ogogo, Nick Komoroto. So basically, he's recruited like the Nightmare Academy students.
Yeah.
He's taken them under his wing, and they've turned on the Nightmare Family, basically.
Mhm.
So there you go.
Yeah. No, to me, it was just not. I wasn't interested in that match.
I mean, nothing against QT Marshall. I'm not really all that interested in seeing him wrestle Cody.
Yeah, me neither.
Or Dustin for that matter. Okay. Next up, we had John Moxley versus Cesar Bononi. Any thoughts on this? I thought it was decent. Decent for the amount of time it had.
Yeah, I was just thinking it was just to keep Moxley loose. That's all it was. Just so he doesn't get any rust on him.
So it looks like we also have some dissent in Team Taz.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like there's something going on with
Brian Cage, because they got mad at Brian Cage because he had gave props to Sting, which kind of pushed the other members of Team Taz against him or giving him heat. But here's the thing: I don't think Brian Cage is that type of wrestler. You let him be a solo wrestler. You don't put him in factions. You let him just be a solo wrestler.
This was one of my favorite segments of the night. We had MJF with the Pinnacle. Then the Inner Circle came back, made a surprise return, and they let loose and they laid waste to the Pinnacle, and everyone got their just desserts. MJF got a swirly from Jericho. People, like, there were bodies all over the place. That Ortiz took an ice bath. That was fun. Cash got the ice bath from Ortiz.
Yeah, but dude, did you see when they broke the director's chair and he got a piece of the director's chair and hit it like right on top of the head? I thought he didn't hit him. I guess he did. He did hit him, because if you go into the social media of AEW, you see what's that guy from FTR? Not Cash.
Dax Harwood, the bald one.
Yeah, Dax. Yeah, they were sewing up his head where that point.
Yeah, I'm looking at. He got legit. He got legit busted open. So thank you, Dax Harwood, for getting hurt for our entertainment, because that was they showed him getting stitched up. Like, you could see that was a nasty.
Yeah, but
his skull was like split open from that.
Yeah, but that was such a great segment that it sold. It just completely sold. And it was just awesome. I loved it.
Okay, we had another good match here. Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid versus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers picked up the win. Great match here, but man, I want to see the Lucha Brothers like become the champions.
Same here. Same here, because they're so exciting to watch. Like, that's the whole reason why I look forward to watching the Lucha Brothers on AEW. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Kenny Omega, I love the Good Brothers, but the Lucha Bros are friggin' amazing. They really are awesome.
They've got it factor, man.
Mm-hmm.
Fans love them too.
Yeah, well, they're exciting to watch. Like, what do you see? Ray Phoenix walk the rope and I forgot what he did, but he walked the rope and just came out of nowhere and dropped the guy, and I was like, dude, I haven't seen that at all.
Penta's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
He's like so intense.
Yeah.
Okay. So what else? We had Bunny and Nyla Rose versus Tay Conti and Hikaru Shida, kind of going off last week, because you had Tay Conti picking up the upset over Nyla, and then Bunny and Nyla attacked them, and Hikaru Shida came out for the save. Bunny and Nyla Rose picked up the win here. Yeah, not a great match, but solid for the amount of time it had.
It was a good filler.
I think it's kind of time for Hikaru to lose the title.
Yeah.
But I don't know when they're going to do that.
Yeah. I don't.
I kind of want to see someone else get the belt now,
Yeah, it's time to pass it on.
Who would you want to see win the women's title in AEW? I want Britt Baker.
I think Britt Baker is number 1. Number 2,
Thunder Rosa.
I would think Thunder Rosa, but I don't know how that would work out because she's still under contract with
NWA.
Yeah, so I don't know how that would work out, but definitely Britt Baker should be number 1.
Serena Deeb is under contract with AEW, but I think, does she still have the NWA women's title?
I think she does. I haven't checked the NWA recently.
I think Serena Deeb, she is the NWA Women's Champion. I think Serena Deeb would be a candidate too, for that matter.
Yeah.
Okay, so main event this week, we had the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy versus Miro and Kip Sabian. It was just kind of like a goofy brawl.
It was
a gimmicky brawl. We saw Chris Statlander return and was helped the Best Friends, and Trent and Mom Sue also returned. So Trent had like that torn pectoral injury.
Yeah.
So he's back, came back to help the Best Friends out. So he's still with the Best Friends. Best Friends got the win. It wasn't like my favorite match, but it was okay.
It was fun. That's what it was. It was just a fun match, at least for me.
Okay. Any other big takeaways this week for AEW for you?
Nah, nothing really. It's just Lucha Bros are just, that match was well worth it for me. I loved it. I think that's what really put it over the top this week.
Okay, so here we go for NXT. Now, NXT is having a big 2-night event next week, Stand and Deliver for NXT TakeOver. Okay, so we had Cameron Grimes versus Roderick. What do you think of Cameron Grimes, by the way, and the whole kind of like the hillbilly kind of like
Hillbilly Millionaire?
Yeah, hillbilly millionaire. I like it.
I like it. I think it's a good gimmick for what he is. And I don't know where they're gonna go with it, but it's a good gimmick. I like it.
When he came out and he did that promo and he was like, I got all this crypto and GameStop stock and I am rich. And I'm like, this guy's like, the guy's clearly into the character, and he's like fully into it. I enjoy the character. I enjoy the gimmick.
Yeah, same here. I think it's fun.
So Cameron Grimes actually picked up the win over Roderick Strong. Now, personally, look, I've watched Roderick Strong going back like almost 20 years, going back to his like ROH days. This is sort of the ceiling I see for him. I think NXT is probably the best place for him, because I think if he would ever go to the main roster, he would just be a jobber. And yeah, I just think this is just kind of, the best place for him. I think he could be like a producer or something someday, maybe. But yeah.
Yeah, and then with the Undisputed Era broken up, I don't know where they're going to take his character, and it's going to live on NXT definitely. I don't see it going anywhere else.
Okay, so we had Santos Escobar versus Tyler Breeze. Santos Escobar got the win. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell squashed Gigi Dolan and Zeta Ramirez. So it looks like Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell are gonna try to go for the NXT Women's Tag Titles. Raquel Gonzalez versus Zoe Stark. Raquel Gonzalez got the squash win again. Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter versus Mei Ying and Zia Lee. Or wait, am I saying? How do you say her name? Is it Zia?
I think it's Zia.
Or Zia?
I think it's Zia.
Gauntlet Eliminator qualifying battle royal. LA Knight. At least LA Knight won this one. I think.
Yeah.
I think having him lose to Bronson Reed last week was the bad idea.
Oh, I agree. It doesn't, especially since he's new.
Like, yeah, he's brand new and he just started. Like,
yeah,
I'm not saying have him beat Bronson Reed, but let him beat some underlings first.
exactly. I agree.
Okay, so we have 2 nights of NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. So let's run through that.
Cool.
So this will be what dates? April 7th and April 8th.
And it'll be simulcast on USA and Peacock.
Okay, so yeah. Or I think night 1 is on USA and night 2 is on Peacock, basically.
Yeah, gas. I don't know.
I could be wrong about that, but yeah. All right, so excuse me. Night 1, Io Shirai versus Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's title. Raquel Gonzalez. You don't even. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going to.
Io, and look, I like Io Shirai. I think she's held the belt too long too.
Yeah,
but I think Raquel is the right girl. They've built this match up nicely. It's got to be Raquel. Like,
I agree.
She is a beast. Like, she's a monster.
Well, what she did to Io Shirai this week was pretty impressive too.
Okay. Really, so this will be for the vacant tag team titles: MSK versus Grizzled Young Vets versus Legado del Fantasma. I think it's going to be MSK.
Yeah, MSK, definitely. I think it's sealed for them.
Okay, and for the North American title, it'll be a gauntlet match. It'll be the final 6 competitors from the Battle Royal this week. So LA Knight will be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the one who wins this one will face Gargano, I guess, the following night.
Yeah, I believe so.
In a ladder match. Okay, so here's night 2, April 8th. So for the NXT World Title, Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross. Who do you have?
I have Balor for some reason. I don't think they're gonna. I think they have more to build with Karrion Kross right now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Because what are they gonna do with Balor if he loses the belt? He ain't gonna go anywhere else. He's gonna be on NXT.
I think he's gonna. I think you're right. I think he's probably gonna face like an Adam Cole next.
Exactly.
To our next one, ends unsanctioned match versus Kyle O'Reilly. It'll be Adam Cole. The former Undisputed Era teammates will be facing each other. I'm picking Adam Cole.
Yeah, same here. I think Adam Cole is going to.
And I think he's going to. Adam Cole will face the winner of the title match on night 2.
I agree. And I think it's going to be Finn Balor to finish that storyline.
Johnny Gargano will face the winner of the gauntlet match on night 2. Any picks for that gauntlet for who his opponent might be? Who do you?
It's hard to say because I would like to say LA Knight just because I think they would want to give him a push, but after him losing, I don't think it's going to be LA Knight.
I'm thinking it'll maybe be Bronson Reed.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that way as well.
Okay. Elsewhere, we will have the Cruiserweight Unification bout, Jordan Devlin versus Santos Escobar. I'm picking Santos Escobar.
Same here. Santos is going to pick it up.
Finally, we have the NXT UK title, Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa. Walter also has to defend it at Prelude against Rampage Brown, but I think it's pretty academic. Walter's going to win this one.
Yeah, I agree with it as well. I think Walter's going to win. I don't see Ciampa winning it.
I do think, though, that Walter is going to lose that title soon and start coming to the U.S. And going for the NXT. Maybe we'll start going after the NXT World Title. I don't think his time with the NXT UK brand is that much longer.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's coming to the US very, very soon.
Oh, okay. So since last week we didn't do SmackDown, maybe we should run down last week's SmackDown a little bit.
Definitely.
Okay. So we had Seth Rollins beat Shinsuke Nakamura.
Mm-hmm.
In a 6-man tag team match, Big E and the Street Profits beat Apollo Crews and Alpha Academy. Alpha, man, what happened to Chad Gable and Otis? Man,
I don't know.
Otis won the Money in the Bank. What is going on here? What did they do to Otis, man?
I don't think they really. I think Vince did not have faith in him, because there's a reason why they stripped him of that Money in the Bank championship.
Why did you book him to win the Money in the Bank in the first place? Then,
yeah, exactly. That's the thing I don't understand. Like, why did they give it to him if he wasn't going to follow through with the storyline?
Bianca Belair beat Natalia.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta think Natalia and Tamina will be in that women's tag title.
Yeah, they will.
The contenders match on night 1
Mm-hmm.
to maybe compete, but I don't think they'll win.
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler beat Rey Mysterio. Oh, no, excuse me. Rey Mysterio beat Dolph Ziggler. I'm sorry about that. So then we had the whole Roman Reigns, Adam Pearce, Edge thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think they're booking the Universal title angle going into WrestleMania?
I don't think they're doing a good job because the only one I just don't know why they had to put Daniel Bryan in there. And I get it, but I think it would have been a better match to do just Edge versus Roman Reigns. I just don't.
Why do you think they added Daniel Bryan?
I think he's coming up to his last hurrah pretty soon. I think he knows that his career is coming to close to an end. They need to do, and it's the same thing with Edge. But I think the reason why they did it is just to keep him happy. He's probably going to get the belt eventually down the line, and it's probably to start a storyline with him and Edge. If he wins the belt, that's just my thoughts. But
okay, so here's a rumor from Dave Meltzer with Wrestling Observer Radio about the match. After, let's see, I don't know after Fastlane, he took the WrestleMania 37 card back to square one. The decision wasn't necessarily made due to fears that Reigns is now a heel and will get cheered, but it's simply down to what Vince McMahon wants to see at WrestleMania.
That's why I say Vince has a lot too much. There's a little too much control over with Vince McMahon, and we all know what happens when somebody has too much control, aka the Star Wars prequels.
So I guess it's just a Vince McMahon thing.
Yeah.
There was another rumor that said, I don't even want to say it, but apparently there was a rumor that said Vince thought Edge looked too old. I don't know if that's true though, but it came from Dave Meltzer.
Well, it wouldn't shock me, but I think Edge looks good though, and considering that everything that he's been through.
Considering he had a spinal stenosis, basically 47 years old.
Yeah.
I want to find that initial rumor. Okay, here it is. This is from the Wrestling Observer newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
This was a late change stemming from a decision made by Vince McMahon that he wanted a number of things changed, including Reigns versus Edge. Numerous suggestions were made by a lot of people, most of which were said to be bad. The one that was eventually greenlit was adding Bryan to the match, which everyone agreed to. At that point, the feeling was Bryan would be the face. There was a lot of conjecture that Reigns would have been cheered over Edge, and that may have happened and may have led to Edge going heel, but we're told that was not the reason the match was changed. One person close to the situation said that the age issue, not as much the number as the look of age, he was looking older each week, quote unquote, with Edge was a concerning point. But really, it was said just McMahon wanting to shake things up. So apparently that's why Vince wants to shake things up. So there you go. As we're losing our light in sunny California.
Oh, exactly. It's starting to get a little dark.
It's getting dark. It's getting dark.
The one thing I did want to bring up too, because I don't know if we brought it up yet.
Yeah.
They did announce the Andre's Gem Royal Battle Royal participants.
Right. So basically, here's what's happening. On Friday, April 9th, will be the 2021 Andre the Giant Battle Royal. They didn't have it last year because of the pandemic, so it's coming back this year. And this year, instead of WrestleMania, it'll be on SmackDown. So yeah.
Yeah. And I got the list of who's participating.
Go ahead.
Akira Tozawa is number 1. Angel Garza, Cedric Alexander, Drew Gulak, Elias, Eric, Grand Metalik, Humberto Carrillo, Jackson Riker, Jey Uso, Kalisto will be back for that match, King Corbin, Lince Dorado, Mace, Murphy, Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, Shelton Benjamin, Shinsuke Nakamura, Slapjack, T-Bar, and Tucker.
This doesn't sound like an Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
No, it does not.
It sounds like
everybody who was on the catering truck.
It's the catering truck Battle Royal.
Exactly. Which sucks. I mean, because some of these guys are really, really good.
They're good. Some of these guys are good, but they're the guys who have not been getting booked on TV most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, interestingly enough, some of these guys are Raw guys signed to Raw, so they're just this will be their WrestleMania payday because these are also guys who are not getting booked on the WrestleMania.
Right.
So this will be as close as they get to WrestleMania, not actually being at WrestleMania.
Exactly.
Is the Andre the Giant Battle Royal even that big of a deal?
No, it's not. That's why I think they opened the show with it.
Let's look at who's won. So the first one was Cesaro in 2014.
Yep.
I mean, Cesaro had, he had the bar with Sheamus a little bit, and they were a good team, but not much going on there with Cesaro in the past 7 years. 2015 was Big Show. Big Show's in AEW now, and it's the Big Show. 2016 was Baron Corbin. He did become King of the Ring.
Yeah.
He is sort of an upper tier heel, I guess. So Baron Corbin. 2017 was Mojo Rawley. Is Mojo Rawley even in that battle royal? Even Mojo Rawley is not in the catering battle royal this year.
Nope.
No Mojo Rawley. Where's Mojo Rawley been, by the way?
I thought they let him go.
No, he's still there.
He's still there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. 2008. Okay, 2018 is Matt Hardy. They let him go.
Yeah.
In 2019 is Braun Strowman, who is wrestling Shane McMahon in a cage match. So, I mean, are you happy? I mean, do you like that they're doing a catering battle royal?
I get it, but I think my thing is there's a good way of getting everybody in beforehand, so they're just doesn't seem like they're just throwing people in. So, but I think there's something going on at WWE. I want to know what it is because it just doesn't make sense to me. Especially
Vince McMahon. I'll tell you what's going on. Vince McMahon is still in charge.
Yeah, and that's I don't want to say it, but the proof is on the pudding.
Okay, so the other match that'll be on SmackDown, not tomorrow, April 9th, will be the SmackDown Tag Titles. It will be Ziggler and Rude defending against the Street Profits, Rey and Dominic, and Otis and Chad Gable. So we're going to get a title change on week from Friday?
No, we're not.
Okay. So basically, these are more guys who aren't getting booked for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Street Profits are a good tag team, because I don't think those guys are going to get on WrestleMania this year.
In 2 days, and you still can't get them on? How long is the show, I wonder? That's one thing I'm curious about.
Well, I do think WrestleMania was getting too big and too long, so I don't mind the 2-night thing so much. Yeah. So here, just to take us off, WWE is going to announce their Q1 2021 financial results next month. And they're also going to have the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony next week. So we'll have the and Rob Van Dam. Now we know officially Rob Van Dam is getting into the Hall of Fame. Any thoughts on Rob Van Dam?
Oh, I think he deserves it. I'm shocked that they're doing it, but I think he deserves it. The one that shocked me the most was William Shatner.
William Shatner is getting the celebrity induction.
Yeah, which I don't remember him being there.
He was part of the Bret Hart Jerry Lawler angle in 1995.
Yeah,
and he's had like some Raw appearances over the years, so he's always sort of been a supporter and fan. Yeah. Apparently, WWE taped the Hall of Fame ceremony today. Batista is not getting inducted this year. He was supposed to get inducted last year, but they want to wait to induct Batista when they have fans back to see it, basically.
Yeah.
So that was apparently the decision.
And then his schedule this year too was conflicting because he's
also,
working.
But who will get inducted? The Bella Twins and the Great Khali.
Yeah.
Now look, I'm not a huge Great Khali fan and everything, but Khali did work as a monster heel against John Cena. He did feud with John Cena. He did win the world title once, and he did beat the Undertaker in a one-on-one. So he's kind of done some stuff in WWE where, like, you know, I feel like there have been lesser inductions. He wouldn't be my first choice though.
Exactly. And then when he brought up the fact that they're going to do their financial report soon for WWE.
Yeah.
I mean, their stock price closed today at $55.59, which is up $1.33, which is better than what they've done. They're actually the highest they've ever been was $96 and wait up, I can't get it.
Right.
It was 96.73.
They were
the highest it's ever been.
The stock plummeted. The stock plummeted at one point, and they were struggling.
Yeah.
For a while. So that's definitely a lot higher.
Yeah.
Well, some of the stockholders started suing Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
They had to settle a lawsuit for $39 million.
Yeah.
That's the biggest WWE lawsuit settlement ever.
Luckily, like after the plummet last year, they did get, at least they made up $20 off of the stock price. So I'm sure you're going to see some interesting financials this year.
Oh, also Eric Bischoff is getting a WWE Hall of Fame induction. Yes. I can't argue against that because
can't argue with it at all either.
Just for his work as an on-air character alone, I would say he deserves an induction. Now, Eric Bischoff is not my favorite person, but he deserves it.
When you go back, and now that WWE owns WCW's content and everything that affiliated with them, the WCW work alone was where Eric Bischoff was really shined.
NWO, WCW Nitro, like, you know, and you know, general manager of Raw, I think you can give him a Hall of Fame spot. So yeah.
Easily.
Oh, Nathan, we got a comment from Nathan Rita. Hey, Nathan, thanks for joining us.
No problem. Hey, thank you, Nathan.
Okay. Anything else before we close things out this week, Mike?
No, I think we're good, man. Because I think we just gotta wait. Next week is gonna be
WrestleMania. And at least, even if WrestleMania isn't good, NXT Stand and Deliver looks awesome.
Yes, and we will do our show after Stand and Deliver next week. Because since it is on Thursday, we're going to be talking about both shows next Thursday, immediately following the matches. So,
okay. So until next time, you can find me on Twitter at Wheeljack83. You can find my wrestling news at 411mania.com. Also, my review of Godzilla vs. Kong, 411mania.com/movies. My wrestling interviews, the 411 Wrestling Interviews podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. So check that out, please.
Yeah, I mean, you can check us out every week here on MUSE TV. That's where you can find me. And don't forget, next week, even though we have 5 p.m. next week underneath on the scroll, we were not going to be on at 5 o'clock. We're going to be on at, it probably ends at like 7, right, or 8, I'm thinking, next week. What? I can't hear you. You gotta unmute.
Your background looks so spooky now. I'm sorry.
I know. It's cool. I'm getting into that fiend mode.
You look like Vincent Price.
Exactly. But next week we'll be on after the second day of NXT's Stand and Deliver. So we're going to be talking a lot of wrestling next week. So stay tuned. And we'll see you next time here on This Week in Pro Wrestling, only on MUSE TV.